Is it only a year ago we were in France, pouring a fine vin rouge, smelling the aromas, tasting the mystery...
Shut up, man. Come on, don't be sentimental. Just tell them what we're doing.
All right. Well, this time we're heading off on a Californian road trip to sample the finest...
That is the best glass of wine I've ever had.
And foulest...
It is such a completely unholy alliance of flavours
that the new world has to offer.
We'll meet young rebels.
I thought you were dead.
Old rebels.
More great wine made now than ever in the history of the world.
And deranged rebels.
I like the monkey biter.
France is where we think the world's best wines come from. The Californians would beg to differ. Who's right?
This is a wine that will change the world. Welcome to a serious piece of investigative wine journalism. Ruthlessly paired of any extraneous or irrelevant nonsense.
You leave you there for 15 minutes and you get hammered. This is Oz and James's big wine adventure, The New World.
Come on, man, really, it's Oz and James's thinly disguised drinking holiday.
Give me strength.
Oz Clark, wine ponds, a man who likes talking about wine instead of drinking it.
James May, petrolhead, a man with nothing intelligent to say but a huge thirst. Last year, we got together for a 1,000-mile tour of the vineyards of France. I attempted to teach James the basics of wine appreciation while we hunted for the best the old world has to offer.
But that was a year ago. I drank, I forgot, so I agreed to another trip.
So, I've invited James to go west, young man, and discover a whole new world in California. This is the birthplace of the new world wine revolution. And the objective of new world wine is pleasing the wine drinker. Pleasure in the bottle, easy to understand. And where better to meet than Venice Beach, Los Angeles, where the buff and the beautiful hang out. So, we should fit right in.
Oi! Morning! Funnily enough, Oz stands out, mainly by his paleness.
The reason we've met on the beach is because this is the scene of my greatest wine tasting triumph. On this beach here, I became world wine tasting champion.
I didn't know there was a World Wine Tasting Championship.
There hasn't been one since. That's why I'm still undisputed world wine tasting champion, because no one's actually challenged me and taken the title away.
But when was this?
This was 1985.
1985?
Yes.
On the basis of this, if we organise some sort of wine tasting on this trip and I beat you, that would make me World Wine Tasting Champion, wouldn't it? As you're the current champion.
Yeah, but...
It's like conkers.
All right, okay. So, surprise me. What kind of car have we got?
Ah, well. Come and have a look. It's very American.
I should hope so.
And you'll like it. Last year we made a little corner of France forever England with the oil leak from our classic Jaguar. This time I've gone for a more sensible vehicle.
Well, James!
No.
The Mustang!
No, I was having you on. Sorry. It's better than that.
Big car. Another pickup over there.
No, it's definitely not a pickup.
Go on. You wait.
It has a generator to power the fridge, which will have your wine in it. And we will never ever have the debate about who's got to drive the car to the hotel after we've had a drink, because this is the hotel. You get in it, it's a house. You'll like it. Look at it. But never mind the decor, look at the facilities, which is what this is about. I haven't shown you the best bit yet.
Oh, haven't you?
Watch.
What's happening?
Both sides of it extend outwards.
James. Are we sharing this?
No, this is yours.
I can't have this all to myself.
Why not?
Well, it's not fair, actually. I mean, it actually isn't fair.
On the basis that you complained about me last time because you thought I was a hooligan and a yobbo and I was a disgrace to Britain and all the rest of it, I'm repaying you with this master bedroom arrangement. I will go down the front, sleep on the sofa, snore, burp,
And I will
be
promise
drunk.
to be extremely nice to you. It's strangely, awfully magnificent.
Good. First of 6 gears. Clear, clear. We're now motoring. This is the Monaco Dynasty, 40 feet of marble, wood and roost leather luxury recreational vehicle. An RV. It's longer than a Routemaster bus and it's capable...
Stop it, James. This is a wine show. Now, California produces 85% of America's wines. Starting in Los Angeles, we've got hundreds of miles of road ahead of us, traveling through all the best wine regions, from Santa Barbara to the dusty plains of Monterey, through the forested hills of Santa Cruz, ending up in the world-famous Napa Valley, just north of San Francisco. Have you actually remembered anything about what I tried to teach you about wine?
Yeah, virtually all of it. Wine is a drink made from grapes, but unlike mere grape juice, it's alcoholic, and it's alcoholic because of the process of fermentation. Fermentation occurs because the sugar that occurs naturally in the juice of the grapes reacts with the yeast which forms on the skin of the grapes whilst it grows.
Is that it? You're going to have to work a lot harder in California, my son. This is the land of the free. There are no hidebound rules you have to obey like in the old world. You can blend whatever grapes you like, you can grow them wherever you like, you can make whatever you like from them. It's like a giant vat with limitless possibilities and the potential to produce some of the most exciting wine in the world. But in the UK, most people still only buy the mass-produced bottles from big players like Blossom Hill and Gallo.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a Californian wine for £10. It's always been £5 or £6.
I think that's right. There's a real problem in the British market of why there aren't more Californian wines at £7 or £8, £9, £10. Our first stop is Santa Barbara County, just north of LA, home to a booming wine industry and the perfect place to take James back to basics. I'll kickstart his New World wine education by testing him on the range of grape varieties they grow around here. The wines will all taste different. Santa Barbara's vineyard shot to fame as the location for the boozy, Oscar-winning film Sideways. It also made a star of the Pinot Noir grape.
But before we get into that, we have to get into this. After 4 hours on the road, we've finally arrived at the first of the trailer parks we'll be staying in.
I got a little wife, she's the joy of my life. There's no place like home. I got a little house that I call my own.
We're in Buellton, slap bang in the middle of Santa Barbara County. It's our first chance to stretch our legs, so I crack open the Oz and James wine can to capture the magic of our surroundings. They've made that one very homely, haven't they? They've got the satellite dish, they've got, let's see if we can just operate the zoomer, they've got teddy bears and candles and flowers.
An empty one.
That's a vacant lot in American.
Not an empty one.
The top of your head just went through frame like the moon rising. Now that we've parked our house, we can have a drink. So it's off to the local supermarket, where it's my quest to find a decent, local, dependable wine for under a tenner.
Now, there we are. What about this one?
Ah, Camelot, the legendary site of Guinevere, Sir Lancelot and King Arthur's court. It was a fabled setting where the days were warm, the nights were cool, and the tables were round.
It's absolute nonsense. That's actually in Santa Barbara town.
Right, and that's
But
10 quid.
what it says on it, which is encouraging, is Santa Rita Hills
Yeah.
is the new trendy area out towards the ocean, i.e. really, really cold. And Pinot Noir is a grape that likes cold. Look at a long, cool growing season. That's it. Pinot Noir likes cool conditions. It's, of all the red grapes in the world, it's the one that likes cool conditions most. Shove it in a hot place and it tastes like jam.
Now for the first of our wine tasting notes. It's slightly thin and even slightly hot on the finish.
I know what you mean about the thinness, but it's the acidity running through it. It's almost like red currant or cranberry acidity.
But I quite like that because it is more interesting for longer. With nothing to do in Buellton except learn to play the banjo, we decide to stay in and try all our supermarket samples. One of them is a Merlot and one is a Pinot, but I'm not sure which one. It's not that.
To clear our heads, I've decided to immerse ourselves in the biggest influence on West Coast wine quality, ice-cold offshore water. So there it is, James. That is the reason that you can grow fine wine in California, the Pacific Ocean.
The sea is cold, makes cold air which blows over the vines, which helps slow down the rate at which the grapes ripen. I can understand that without having to go and stand in the pit. It's Oz and James's big wine adventure.
Yeah.
Not Oz and James's humiliate James by making him do the thing he is least good at in the world, which is anything sporty. I can barely swim now.
You've gone commando, by the way.
Cramp and I've stubbed my toe. Can I come out now, Dad?
I feel like $1 million after that. Now, James's New World education is not just about drinking. I want him to meet some Santa Barbara winemaking stars. Santa Barbara County produces wines in 3 valleys: Santa Ynez, Santa Rita, and Santa Maria. Look for these names on the label. This is the Au Bon Climat winery, run by my old friend Jim Clendenin.
Oz Clark.
If anyone started the Pinot Noir craze in California, it's Jim. He's the perfect chap to get James started. It's a fantastic ridge up here, Jim. I'm not used to going onto Californian vineyards so much up on the hill. But
No.
where? Tell us where we are now. Where's north, south, east, west?
Well, if you look straight out there, you're going due west. In the
That's the ocean.
That's the ocean.
That's
the
where all this
singular
wind
thing,
is coming
all
from.
the wind's coming from there, and there are no mountain ranges between us and the Pacific Ocean.
So if you're looking for a Pinot Noir based wine from California, it's a very fashionable drink. You want one from an area that has high elevation, winds. What was the other thing?
The high
Morning
elevation
fog.
is nice, but the winds are crucial, and morning fogs to stop to cool the vineyards down in the morning.
Excellent. There you go. That's a wine fact.
Our first wine fact.
I do believe there is more great wine made now than ever in the history of the world, which I think is special. I also think there's more standardized wine passed off as great wine than ever in the history of the world, too.
So you must have to spend quite a lot of your time buying other people's wines and tasting them and thinking about what's happening.
It's a dirty job. Somebody's got to do.
You must be permanently hammered.
Get out. But I have to tell you that late at night, at the end of a party, I am still standing when probably I should be taking a nap someplace.
You can probably make a fair assessment of the wine by meeting the maker. You go and meet him. If he's a bit fat and his hair's untidy and he's pissed, buy it. Is that fair?
You've got
Oh, unfair, but probably true.
I hope all Californian winemakers are like Jim. A few minutes pretending to look at the vines and then back for an afternoon of drinking this Pinot Noir thing. Well, this is fruity, and the flavour is, I would say this is quite a coy wine, the sort John Donne would have written about, and it's polite as well. It's a polite wine. It's not one of those ones that sort of comes into the room going, hey, you know, with its big face.
So far, so good.
How much is it in Britain, and can you buy it?
It should be 12 pounds.
Yeah.
My guess is by the time you found it, it would be closer to 16 to 18 pounds.
And it's a very drinkable wine that goes very well with itself. I'd quite, happily sit on the step outside my house and drink it.
Well,
Let's have
thank
the
you,
lunch.
James.
I mean, he's absolutely taken to Jim and has shown that if he likes the person and if the wines actually have personality, James has got lots of good and interesting ideas about the wine. Once upon a time in California, there was gold in them there hills. Now, the gold rush has become a wine rush, and everyone wants in on the act. You don't even have to own a vineyard to be a player in the wine business. You can buy your grapes, by the ton if you like, or even rent a couple of acres of vines to cultivate, as you choose. The young winemakers of the town of Lompoc are doing just that. Anybody can visit the wine ghetto to taste their cult wines.
It looks like somewhere you'd mend cars.
Sashi Norman and Jim Knight are part of a collective producing wine with interesting labels like Holas Bolas and Jelly Roll. But take it from me, they're names to watch out for in the future.
Why are you in an industrial unit which should be used for making pallets, and yet you're in here making wine?
Because it's the most affordable kind of space to have a winery. We can't build a chateau or a winery make an estate winery because we don't own the land. Something like the ghetto actually becomes kind of an ambassador for the region, because this becomes a place that people come to visit. Even though it's not beautiful, they find it charming in some strange way, and so that endears people to not only the wines but the spirit of the place.
As much as I like these blokes, an industrial estate is not really where I'd choose to go for a drinking holiday. But no matter, the poor people have invited us to a party that they've organised next to one of the vineyards where they scrump their grapes.
Our genial hosts are going to help me set James his first wine challenge of the trip to see if he's really understood how much climate affects Pinot Noir.
First though, some Oz Clarke worship. Oz, there's a lady here who would like to meet you. I'm sorry, I don't know your name because you didn't tell me.
I just went into Oz.
You went straight into...
Oz, my name is Amy, Christine.
Right, I'll go now.
Just the kind of girl I like to meet in wine tasting.
I actually am really nervous and I feel like I want to bow a little bit, but I don't want to embarrass you.
I never really thought of Oz Clarke. Sorry, let me just have a discreet look. As a sex symbol, but why would I? He's just another bloke that you could go to the pub with. But he's obviously very famous around here and very popular, and people really like him and are quite intimidated by his presence.
And I would watch you sit, and you had little tutorials on how to swirl wine and smell wine and taste wine, and that's how I started.
Here people they get sort of dribbly and jittery and wobbly at the knees because Oz Clarke is here, which is great, but I wouldn't have guessed.
Can I be your sidekick?
Amy, let me talk to my director about this.
Would you?
Let me talk to my director, because I think Oz and Amy's Big Wine Adventure is a much better title.
James, are you ready for your test?
We've got a cool climate Pinot Noir and a warmer one. So we've got one which is probably from the south-facing slopes. We'll get more fruit into it, maybe more alcohol. And we've got one from the cooler, wind-swept areas of Santa Maria, where it's likely to have things maybe like drier spices, maybe like vegetable flavours, but not so fat, not so bulbous, not so juicy.
Right.
Come on, James. My reputation's on the line here.
That's off the wind-swept slope, and that's off the sunny slope with the fruit and the alcohol in it.
You're right.
Ah.
You're right.
What I can't understand is how you've made a living out of this for the last 85 years. It's a piece of cake. Oz Clarke, wine god and world wine tasting champion. For now.
I think the thing about James is that if he puts his mind to it, he's got an excellent palate. He's got a very original and imaginative approach to flavours and tastes of every possible sort. I suspect he's got a very imaginative approach to everything in life. If he concentrates, if he doesn't arse about, he's going to be really good. We're heading for another of Santa Barbara's much lauded wine valleys, Santa Ynez, and it's home to a living legend.
Where are we going again? We're going to see...
Now we're going to see a very nice old bloke. A bloke who's probably given you hours of innocent fun when you were a small lad.
What's his name?
Fess Parker. Hello. I'm Oz Clark. How are you?
Hey, Oz, nice to meet you. I'm Jess Parker.
Great.
James May.
Hello,
Morning.
James. Nice to meet you.
And I know you, don't I? But I'm sorry, I can't think why.
Davy Crockett, king of the wild frontier.
Back in the 50s, Fest was TV's Davy Crockett before hanging up his fur hat to go into the wine business.
I started this with my family when I was 65. And I think a part of my good fortune of still being around here is red wine does help.
How old are you, if you don't mind me
I'll
asking?
be 83 next week.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Fess and his family have cleverly turned his winery into one of the top tourist attractions in the area. It wouldn't be America without the chance to grab a souvenir with your Sauvignon.
Quite like those grapey flip-flops. That's the best wine gimmick I've seen. But when I was a kid, I would have wet myself with excitement if I could have had Davy Crockett's hat.
Well, take your hat off. Let's go and do some serious tasting. But before we go any further, I really need to teach James a wine tasting skill he's been carefully avoiding. James, just one thing. I know that the spitting thing may upset you.
It's an
but
affront to
look,
Bacchus.
I know it's an affront to Bacchus, but it's not an affront to your ability to actually stay upright and sober all day. And if we're travelling around in California, you've got to actually make sure the alcohol doesn't get in your system. That's why I do. And when I'm travelling around France, I often have to go to winery after winery. I spit, and I can drive the car. So if there's any driving involved, spitting is absolutely imperative. Now roll it around in your mouth to get some flavour. Don't muck about. Roll it around your mouth. Yes, yes. And then breathe through your mouth. Come on, breathe through your mouth to get some air into it. Try to keep your head slightly forward, otherwise you'll choke. Well, breathe through, okay, breathe through your mouth. The pressure of the air coming in should keep the liquid in your mouth. You do it properly and don't mess about. Okay, you've done that. Okay, now, spit out in there. Don't make a mess. I'm standing well up. It's perfectly easy, isn't it?
I never pretended it was difficult. I just think it's immoral. Sorry, I forgot. I really... Thank you.
This is an unoaked Riesling. I'm putting on there and I give it a good rub, like that.
All right, I'll do that bit.
Well, then do it properly. Give it a good rub, and that will mean that the red wine stain won't stick onto your t-shirt. So that's a wine point.
That's a good wine fact. White wine removes red wine. The grape varieties keep on coming. Zinfandel, Pinot Noir, Pinot Blanc, Riesling. Frankly, too much to take in. I thought, well, we can just talk about the grape varieties, what they taste like and what wine you should buy. But inevitably, it isn't that simple.
I never said it was easy, and I'm going to baffle James even more by challenging him to a game of Guess the Grape. The viewers at home, it's a French variety called Viognier.
It's white.
Well done. That's about as far as you're going to get with this one.
It's oaky.
I agree. Well done. And why does that? The vanilla? The toffee-ish vanilla?
It's vanilla-y,
Absolutely right.
banana-y, custardy,
Now,
chewy
there's-
sweet type
There's
flavour.
your all custardy stuff. Talk
Yes.
about custard when you've got an oaky wine, which has been in oak barrels. Riesling doesn't go in oak barrels.
Smooth and melony, it's a Viognier.
Oh, damn.
Is it right? For that, I earn an actual drink.
You're learning far too fast, Mr. May.
So, we head back to the trailer park with some more of Davy Crockett's Viognier. Or is that Viognier? Nobody seems to be sure, but the wine god has the answer. Do a correct English pronunciation of whatever that wine is without pretending to be French.
Good evening. Do you have any Viognier? Good evening. Do you have any Viognier? What's wrong with that?
This is why nobody
Good
drinks
evening. Do you
it.
have any Viognier?
It's a comedy word.
It's not a comedy. Well,
You
actually, that
can't
is why.
say. Are you so clattered you don't know that you're just being a pantomime Frenchman? what went wrong. Unsurprisingly, the last day has been a bit of a write-off.
But this evening, we're going out in style at another star of Sideways, the Hitching Post restaurant, famous for its steaks and its own label Pinot Noir. You know that blonde girl?
Yes.
She's coming to dinner as well. Now look.
Why?
Well, because she's really keen on wine, and we got on really well, and I asked her out. She's bringing a friend.
Oh, you're kidding. I was actually looking forward to an evening out with you in a nice restaurant trying some wines.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Oz.
Ria, very nice.
Oz, this is Ria. It's great to see you.
Up my sleeve is a challenge that James should find easy. Ladies, prepare to be impressed. No, this is 2 wines for James to have a blind tasting.
Let's see.
He looks quite professional.
I'm making this up. That's the Riesling, and that's the Sauvignon. I can tell that just by smelling it. That's quite easy.
Can I try them? All right.
Leave some for me, won't you?
That's the Riesling.
So I was wrong.
So,
Yes.
Riesling, you, and me.
Right.
Sauvignon Blanc, you, and me.
Odd man out.
Having failed, I fall on my steak knife. Well, I got the wine challenge thing wrong, the Sauvignon Blanc and the local Riesling, which I thought I'd be able to get by smelling them after all that smell stuff that Oz had told me about. But I didn't. But that's fair enough. I mean, I've only been learning about wine for a bit. Amy and Ria suddenly remembered that they'd left the gas on.
Nice to meet you.
See you soon.
Yes.
Good night.
So it was back to me, Oz Clarke, and Omar Khayyam. One moment in annihilation's waste. One moment of the well of life to taste. The stars are setting. The caravan starts for the dawn of nothing. Oh, make haste.
Next, we're heading north to Paso Robles, where Rhone Valley varieties rule. We'll be tasting
And drinking.
New World Shiraz.
Why not pour yourself a very modest glass, unless pregnant, and join us as I challenge Oz for a change.
And we meet winemakers who walk on the wild side.
That's awesome.
That is wine tasting.
If you like the sound of the wines of Santa Barbara, there are some more recommendations from the Wine Ponce and the Scruff Bag at bbc.co.uk/food.
Oz and James back on BBC Two next Tuesday at 8. Well, next tonight, a spicy challenge for Heston Blumenthal. His search for the perfect chicken tikka masala takes him to Delhi. And not to be missed tomorrow night at 8, it's the final test as Raymond makes his big decision. There can only be one winner of the restaurant.